It's Felt Food with CardicaCreations. This episode, a raspberry and lemon polenta cake. Now to make this yummy creation, the sewing tomato tells us we need beige, white, yellow lemon and red felt with their corresponding threads. We'll need a template with 85mm rim and a 40mm rim in the middle. As you can see, we're cutting out the same shape from beige felt. To cut out the circle, I just make an indentation with a pencil and use this as a guide to cut it out. Now this circle donut shape actually makes two cakes, so we're going to cut it in half like so. For one cake, we just need one inner circle and one half. We're going to sew the pieces together like so using a blanket stitch. If you need to know how to do a blanket stitch, I have a how-to video on sewing basics and I'll put that link in the description box below. Your blanket stitch when starting off should look something like this, and just remember with any blanket stitch, you'll want to just do a double stitch in the first stitch to help secure the thread. Over time, you'll find that your creation looks something like this. You'll notice that you might have excess thread, excess felt, so just cut that off. The reason is because the felt tends to bunch up as you do a blanket stitch. Once you've done this, go ahead and complete your blanket stitch along the bottom edge of your felt piece. Ta-da! Next, we're going to do a ladder stitch to close this side up. Alternatively, you can do an overcast stitch. All of these stitches that I've just mentioned are elaborately explained in my Know How to Sew Felt Basics video, which I've got linked in the description box below. To do a ladder stitch, this is what you'll need to do. Take a little nick from one side of the felt, then take a little nick from the other side of the felt that you're attaching to. When you pull the thread tight, you get it nice and hidden like this, hence the name Hidden Ladder Stitch. Now you'll notice a shape difference between the finished product and the shape that we have now. And what we need to do is make it more round and flat. So as you can see here, I've stuffed the cake with some polyester toy filling available at your local sewing store. Then I'm just doing a running stitch along the top rim of the creation. Then as I pull it tight, it makes it nice and flat and puffy like a dumpling. Then just tie a knot and cut off the excess thread. Next, we want to start making some icing. To do this, cut out an appropriately sized piece of white felt. By appropriately sized, I mean something that will go over the top of our creation. As you can see, I've also cut it out to mimic a blob shape or dripping icing. Then I'm going to do a running stitch along the outer edge of the icing piece and attach it to the icing and cake as you go along. Now before I finish it off, I'm going to actually leave a hole here unstitched so that I can neatly sew on the decoration on the top of the cake. I'm doing this by taking little strips of yellow lemon colored felt, and this is to mimic lemon rind because it is a raspberry and lemon polenta cake. I'm twisting the felt piece to make it look a little bit more natural and realistic to mimic that sort of waviness that a lemon rind piece might have at the top of a lemon polenta cake. Watch the video closely to see how I'm sewing this to my creation. Now the reason why I left some of the icing unstitched is so that I can hide the knot of the yellow colored thread underneath the icing. Once you're done, push the needle back through and tie a knot and cut it off. Next, we're going to make our raspberry. So getting a smaller circle of red colored felt, we're going to give it some surface detail by making just some running stitches. Here I'm actually doing a back stitch, which is similar to a running stitch. And I'm going to make cross patterns. Once I've done this, I want to do something similar to what we did before. I'm going to do a running stitch all the way around the edge of this little circle piece. Then when I pull the thread, we'll scrunch it up to make it nice and round, so it looks like a rounded raspberry, as you can see here. Voila! Don't forget you want to stuff that raspberry up, otherwise it'll just be an empty squishy raspberry. Make sure to secure your thread and tie a knot once you're done. However, you don't want to cut off your thread. Rather, what you want to do is you want to sew it directly onto your icing piece. You want to make sure that the polyester fluff is all facing downwards and that you can't see any fluffy parts. And also that you can't see the edges of the raspberry felt piece. Once you're happy with how you've secured your raspberry to the felt creation, just pop your needle through the white felt, make a couple of knots, and cut off any excess thread. Then you can hide away your threads, your yellow and red threads that is under the icing, by closing up the white icing and continuing your simple running stitch along the edges of the white felt piece. Once you're done, just tie a subtle knot somewhere along the very edge of your icing and secure the thread by pushing your needle through the felt creation to some other side and chopping off the excess thread and needle. Then push, 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 plop, plop, plop. You're done! Your raspberry and lemon polenta cake is all complete. And once you've done one of your polenta cakes, go ahead and grab that other circle from the beginning and create a second polenta cake. Whether that's with the raspberry, with just lemon, or with both.